Story time with Stephanie Storey.
Welcome to the show. This is a very special edition of Story Time, in part because it is the first time that I've ever talked to a writing team, and they are identical twins, so extra special. These two ladies grew up around the corner from William Faulkner, and now they are both writers as well. Their books include The Y'all Twins, Which is Which, Our Josephine, among others. They are also award-winning educators and public servants. Katherine and Margaret King.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited. We're so excited.
Okay, I have to start. Which is which? Who's who?
The question everybody asks us, which is which. I'm Kat. Just so you know, I'm the good twin.
And I will admit that she is the good twin. I'm Margaret. She's good. I'm better best.
No, right.
I thought you were gonna go with I'm the bad twin. And
No, read the books.
She's the not so good twin.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming and chatting with me. In part, I have a lot of things I want to ask you about. But one of the things is, so you grew up around the corner from William Faulkner. Now, how did you meet him, and did you know who he was when you first met him?
No, we didn't really realize the importance of William Faulkner as children. He lived around the corner from us. And the reason we really loved interacting with him is because every morning or so he would hitch up his mule in the buckboard and he would ride around the block. And so we would hide behind the hydrangea bushes. And as he passed our house with his mule and buckboard, we would jump on the back of the backboard thinking he did not notice the extra weight. But of course he did. And so he just lived around the corner. He and our dad were good friends, and but we never knew the importance of William Faulkner as children.
We were about 5 years old when this happened. And we were so afraid he was going to tell our father. But he never did. He the next day or so he came back around and we were out front, and he said, "I bet you think I told off on you, don't you?" And he said, I didn't. We've always said we think William Faulkner liked children and liked animals, but I don't know if he liked adults in the media. But he liked us and we liked him.
When did you figure out, oh my gosh, that was that guy with the mule? We used to jump on the back of his lake. When did it click?
Gosh, it was probably in the 60s, and I think he passed away in 1960. And we were just 11 or 12, so I think we knew by then that he was somebody, and that we should behave around him.
And our daddy said, "Now don't y'all bother him," because he knew we'd done something.
Mm-hmm.
And Kat says, "No, sir, we won't." And I said, "I promise, Daddy, we won't bother him anymore." So that kind of gave it away.
Margaret always gave it away.
I always gave it away. But he was very kind to us, and we thought a lot of him. We really did.
How does your writing team relationship work? Like does one of you drive the train? Does one of you create first and the other one's more of a reviser?
Well, Margaret's the typist because I can't spell.
That's right.
Okay, so she does the typing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll approach a topic and we'll say, let's try to go back and remember how this happened. And I would start telling a story, and Margaret would look at me and she would say, that is not the way it happened.
You're just trying to make yourself look better. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So
she set me straight all the time.
She's a real rascal. Mama had 3 kids in 1 year. And I tell everyone, and one of them was Kat. And that was probably mother's undoing. So.
How do you, so if you disagree on something in your creative process, how do you make a choice who wins?
Well, the person who's more adamant about, no, it happened this way. It did not happen that way.
And we agree on, we come to an agreement on it, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, the writing was the easiest part. I mean, we remember everything the same basically, unless Kat wants to embellish and make herself
So
look
look better.
look a little better. But we remembered everything pretty easily as to how things happened, and so we just had a fun time writing. We'd just sit down at night, and I said, "Now we got to get 1,000 words tonight." And so we sit down. We every night we would write 1,000 words. We had a great editor as well.
Oh, good.
And if we couldn't figure something out, how to say it, we'll just let Luther figure this out. He'll be able to put the words in there just exactly right.
And he did.
And he did.
Now, but what I've read of your writing, it does feel very Southern in its storytelling. I know as a Southern writer, being around Southern writers and reading Southern writers, it affected the way I write and the way I storytell. Do you guys feel that way? Or is it just so embedded you don't even know? Is it just who you are? And
it's just who we are. And Southern writers, I think they just bring so much comfort and love to their stories. And even if it's fiction, they rely on their experiences from their past, I think. And we just go ahead.
Yeah, we had so many people who read our books and said, that takes me right back to when I was a child. And they could just see themselves in that same situation that we were in.
When we wrote Which is Which, and we had our book launch for it, one lady came up to us and she said, she'd read Y'all Twins, and she came up, she said, "I just can't wait. I just want you to know I was reading one of your stories and I laughed so hard I peed in my pants." So, I thought that was a pretty good way to put it. So our stories are funny, we just try to, and we had such a hilarious childhood. As twins, it's just,
you can get away with almost anything.
Switching who you are and where, and
God gave us the gift of being identical twins. So you got to use it in every way. I was really good with math classes, so I did a lot of her geometry, algebra.
Did you switch during tests? You go take the geometry.
Oh, we're not going to confess a whole lot.
But we did apologize to all of our teachers before they passed away.
We did.
Fantastic.
We confessed to them.
And most of them said, they treated us as one instead of two separate people.
Right.
This geometry teacher said, "Well, I couldn't tell y'all apart. It wouldn't matter to me which one came up to the board and answered the question, just the same." So most of them thought of us as a single unit instead of two individuals.
Worked well for us.
Yeah, it did.
Do you guys think of yourself? Do you guys think of yourself as a single unit? Do you still live together? Are you quarantining together during this weird pandemic?
We live together and we're quarantined together. And how do you think it's working out?
Oh, when you're quarantined with your best friend, it's just wonderful.
Really?
It's pretty painful.
It is not for me. I guess it is for her.
But seriously, everybody's having those kinds of, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in a house. I can't go do anything. And I love this person, but we're stuck together.
I just can't figure out what day it is.
Yeah. We're not having any problems with that at all.
No.
Our children come up and drop groceries off at the front door, and we wave to them, and we do get to see, people who are our children who are important to us and all, but we haven't had any problems at all. I've taken up pouring paints.
Yes.
It's an art, and that's new to me, and I'm enjoying doing that. And so we're catching up on things that we hadn't done in a long time. We hope to sit down at some point and write a new book on bullying.
Okay.
We've already got the story written. I think it's in Which is Which. It may be in Y'all Twins, but we've got to kind of update it for not the 1950s, but the 2000s. So we have to update the lingo, and I think we're going to come out with that.
That's fantastic. I was going to ask, and this leads right into it, is you guys, so a lot of the stuff you've written before has been set in the 1950s South. So what all have you seen change? I mean, so much has changed since the 50s. I just also feel like lately with Black Lives Matter and Me Too, we've had a lot of changes in the last couple of years in race and gender. And but what has been your broad view of that change and witnessing it and writing about it, writing about your childhoods later on in life?
You know, writing about our book, Our Josephine, the story takes place in 1957 where we were 9 years old and we met our first African-American friend, Josephine, who was 16 years old in Vicksburg, Mississippi, so in the deep South. And the things that two little white girls could do and get away with, she could not do. And some of the life stories that she told us and some of the just observations that we had that she couldn't go in the front door of the library. And if she had to walk in front of a white school, she had to actually cross the street and walk down the sidewalk across the street. And then after she passed the school, she could go back to the other side. Just things. And we asked her, who made up these rules? I mean, why are you having to do this? And we wanted her to skip along with us and hold our hands in the middle between us on the sidewalks to go to the supermarket. And she said, girls, I cannot walk with you or between you. I'll get in trouble, and I'm not getting in trouble because of you two rascals. So, you know, we learned a lot of separate but equal in the Jim Crow era. We didn't even know what separate but equal meant, but we could see what it meant, that we could do things that she could not do.
And the thing she taught us was respect one person has for another, regardless of skin color.
You guys have been talking about like paying it forward and what you learned as kids and how it moved forward. And you guys are educators, and community service is very important to both of you. What are you guys doing right now? Are you being able to stay involved in community service during this pandemic, or can you not at all? And how are you feeling about that, whichever way?
Well, I worry about the local Boys and Girls Club, the local exchange prevention of child abuse. I'm on both of those boards, or have been, in the pantry. And what is it we can do from our home that we can help with that? You know, we can buy food and we can ask someone to come pick it up and take it to the pantry. Tonight, Kat and I are going to get a flashlight or a candle, and we only have 6 neighbors. We're going to go to each person's house at 7 o'clock and play, because we can't sing, we can't carry a tune, Lean on Me. And just let our neighbors, just so our neighbors know that we're here if they need anything, if, you know, any way we can help. So we just want our neighbors to know we're here for them. And we worry about the nonprofits making it. And hopefully that's when we get back to normal, that we can see which ones can sustain and which ones can't. And I pray that all of them can, because they're all so worthy, very important. Very important. The prevention of child abuse. I worry about the kids who are home right now in those situations. And the Boys and Girls Club is a wonderful place here for the kids to go to and escape and do their homework before they go home. So I really worry. I guess Kat and I both worry about the kids more than anything.
Right, at home, and the kids who don't have enough to eat, or who don't. That's the thing that blows my mind. Is it's hard enough to just live through this moment as somebody who has everything I could need. You know, I'm lucky in that. I'm so lucky in that respect. And I think about people who are experiencing homelessness right now, and people who don't have enough food, and I just can't mentally grapple with how they're coping with this moment. Where did your commitment to community service come from?
I would say it came from Josephine. I think it goes everything we do have done as an adult goes back to our time with Josephine, and we would say, well, there must be this need out there. And we even passed it down to our children who do more than we do. My little girl, when she was 6 years old, Elizabeth came home from school and she said, Mom, there's a little girl at school who's not going to have any Christmas. Let's go buy her a doll and make sure she gets something. So we have been very successful in passing our love of helping others to our children, and they do a whole lot more than we do. But I think it all goes back to seeing someone else's life that was so different from ours.
And we couldn't understand why, though. Why? Just because the color of her skin was her life so different from ours.
We just loved her.
My daughter, when she was 12 years old in school, her birthday's on December 22nd. So she came home. She said, Mom, I do not want any birthday gifts this year. I want everybody who gives a gift to me, I want it to be a gift to give to someone at school who needs Christmas. So, I mean, I think our kids taught us as much as we taught them. You know, we've been doing that ever since.
And you know, we knew at that point when Elizabeth was 6, when her daughter was 12, we knew they were going to be successful as adults because they had already learned how to give back at such a young age. So, some proud moments along the way, that's for sure.
That's a beautiful thing. And I know you guys are putting that kind of message forward in the books you write. And I love that about you guys. You're always so positive, and you really do latch on to laughter and joy and optimism.
Story time virtually. We've got time and plenty of stories, talking stories in a novel way. Story time with Stephanie.